Hello everybody. Today I'm going to try to give the same lesson that I've given before, but this time there's a little trick. I'm going to try to do it with as little theory as possible, or save the theory for last and get into the meat and potatoes of it first, so I don't bore everybody with an hour, 45 minutes of theory to get into a 15-minute drawing of what we need to do. So here we go. It's totally as brief as I can make this, but still be understandable to a beginner. So to play in any mode, anywhere across the fretboard, as easy as possible, so that you can, the purpose of this lesson is so you can pick up your guitar and start noodling around while you're having fun, going, oh wow, I can hear it, this is cool, I can do it. And then the memorization is easy because you're like, okay, cool, I've got something that makes me want to pick up my guitar and play while I'm supposed to be at church. Okay, jokes aside. Just trying to get this camera to be a little bit more, to have everything in focus. There, I think we got it. Okay, so what you want to do, sorry about the autofocus here. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Okay. We're going to try to turn autofocus off if we can. Settings is not working, so we're going to have to deal with what we got. Okay, so we have, mark this page first. If you don't have, this is for beginners, so beginners might not even have any idea about what mode is what and why they want to use it. Well, a mode is a mood. You can play the same old scale, but make it sound like a different emotion. What are the emotions? How do they break down? And can we make it easy? Yes, we categorize them into, there's only 7 notes in the scale. Each one creates a mood experience. So you want to break them down into a nice even geometric pattern. And how does it work? It works 3 and 3, that equals 6. Number 7 is here as an enigmatic kind of a leading scale. Leading into what? They say the 7 always leads into the 1, which is the Ionian. So you can kind of think of Locrian as something you're not going to use for a long time, so don't worry about it. And eventually when you do get to use it, just to have an explanation here today, it can kind of be something that as you play it, it's going to be awkward until you switch into the Ionian mode, and then it's going to make sense. So that's something to think about like that. Or if you just played it by itself, you might make a mysterious song, a song that has never gets anywhere, just maintains this mysterious aura. I think Joe Satriani has experimented some guitar songs with it in that way. Moving on. Major has 3 modes. We categorize them with a smile. We have lighter or brighter is what I should have actually wrote there. Then we have neutral and normal. Come on, focus. Neutral and natural. I think the camera is shaking here, which I can't avoid, so I'm sorry. And darker. So you have lighter on one side, darker on the other, and a neutral scale in the middle. Kind of interesting that the major scale is the also it's the same as the major scale, is just got a modal name is Ionian, but it's your major scale. Now you've heard where the major scale includes the natural minor at the 6th. The 6th note of the major scale as a root of the scale would be the natural minor. So interesting that they both fall in the center as the neutral scale. It's kind of neat. There's a lot of neat geometry in all this weird music theory once you start analyzing all of it. Just another thing for the people who know a little bit more about music, interesting geometry that shows up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 3 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The Ionian is the first note of the scale, and then you've heard blues. You play a 1, 4, 5, the 1 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord. Well, Lydian is built off the 4th chord. Mixolydian is off the 5th chord. You're going to see how easy this is. It doesn't take anything to know all this stuff, so we'll get to that in a second. But anyways, the interesting geometry is that, you have 3 notes, 4 and 5. From the 6, you have 7, 1, 2. Another 3 notes, 2 and 3. Pretty interesting, right? Okay, we got to move on. doesn't really matter if that didn't make any sense to you. Just it was a little tangent I wanted to show people who have some knowledge of this. Anyways, because they'll be watching it too, to see if I'm wrong, see if they can prove me wrong. Because a lot of people don't believe that this stuff can be this freaking easy. And graph paper is another thing that helps all this out, which I'll show you in a second. Now, so Lydian, you might want to draw these faces, because as a beginner, this can help you, have a kind of a memory of what we're, put all these things into your memory quicker. So anyways, notice that what's different is the eyebrows. They're all happy scales. 3 of these are happy, 3 of these are sad scales. What's different about the happy scales? One is a little bit lighthearted, one is kind of serious, and one has a little bit of a twist to it. It's a little darker, a little funkier, kind of Roadhouse, Hillbilly Jam. I don't know what to say, but kind of just some ideas for you. Brighter songs about dreams, angels, uplifting, normal happy songs, Happy Birthday, Mary Had a Little Lamb, and Mixolydian, lots of Grateful Dead songs, something that they wanted to have a little more of a twist, a little more of an interest than just regular happy, okay? Dorian, I think, a police song, that doesn't help you. There's a lot of songs in Dorian out there that want to be sad, but a little bit light at the end of the tunnel, lighter hearted than a little bit more of a melancholic, something different than just standard, regular, normal, minor. Think the Stairway to Heaven solo there. And then finally we have the Phrygian scale. I always hate saying Phrygian, as the kind of the angrier scale. Think of it's kind of like a minor with an Egyptian sound or a metal sound, or you can do a lot of things with that kind of. It's got that extra twist to it. And then finally we have Locrian here with the mysterious leading sound that we talked about. We just gave that a question mark. You're not going to use it very much, so we can put that one aside and just concentrate on 6 modes. Are going to keep you busy learning modes. Now, the final thing you want to know and maybe put in your notes is a little underline on the first letter here. This is going to help you locate these on the fretboard. We're going to use a letter system to denote all of the modes. Now, notice that the trouble with that is 2 of the modes have the same letter, Lydian and Locrian. So, no, that's why this little dot showed up here with Locrian, and that's what we're going to use in our square to kind of denote that this is LX. I made a star there, but I just use an X too. LX is Locrian. Just to know that's the X. It's the one that you aren't going to mess with too much. Okay? So here we go. This is how it's all done on the fretboard. Super easy. Now, remember, there's a lot more. While I show you this, you might say, well, how does that work? Can you prove it? What's the theory behind that? I'm going to skip all that and just show you how to do this. There is a ton of explanation behind all this, but I'm not just going to show you the guts to how this is done. What you want to do is, this is 4 notes on your guitar, and this is a fretboard. Draw yourself a fretboard on a little bit about this fretboard really quick. Draw yourself a fretboard. Well, this will help you out on graph paper. There's a way to do this. I've done a lot of these, and if you try to count 24 squares across, it takes a lot of time, and it's just kind of, you can get lost halfway through. It's frustrating. Do it like this, way easier. Start with a blank sheet of graph paper and just take 6 squares and go E, A, D, G, B, lowercase e. Now you've got 6 lined up, and make a real thick, heavy line with a straight edge. I used a piece of envelope here, and it worked perfect. Get a ruler or whatever. Make a nice thick line right there for your nut. Now you know where the nut is. Then before you make these lines, take your dots, skip 2, because it always starts on the 3, the E, F, G note, G right there. So put a dot there. You're going to do 4 dots, skipping a box. So skip a box, skip a box, skip a box. You got your 4 dots. Then skip 2 again, skip down a line, and do the same thing here. Same thing up, skip a line. You've got your octave at your 12th fret. Then skip 2 to my loo, and go 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 2, and make your final line. Now you know where to connect your upper line, and the box is formed really quick. You have a fretboard. Why a graph paper fretboard? This is important in case you're wondering, like, if it looks neat, great, and here's why it is neat. When you see a regular fretboard chart, you've seen them before, they have the lines. It looks more like a real guitar, and bubbles show up over the lines. To me, that never showed me what I'm going to show you here, how there's this connection to everything. Also, the mind works on, my mind works on a memory. Like, for example, go off on a tangent here. Let's say I had a number pad for a phone number, or one of those things on your phone that wants you to make a one of those drawings that you trace out to unlock your phone. So you make up this one, then you go this way, and there, and you've unlocked your phone. Well, you would have to remember 7, 8, 9, 6, 3, 5, 7, 4, 1, 2, 8. But that's not how you do it. You just remember the lines traced, because your mind remembers patterns like that versus a whole string of numbers. 18 or whatever. What do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 numbers to... that's a perfect example. So instead of having to remember a cumbersome row of 12 numbers, you remember a pattern of lines. And that's kind of how this method works in my mind. Those other drawings are giving you extra information only a beginner needs. A beginner who's never ever picked up a guitar before needs to know exactly where to put their fingers in between the frets, because they might think maybe put your finger on the fret, maybe just ahead, just behind. No, you put it in the center of the fret, but that doesn't really tell you the geometry. So that's why I think graph paper is just an amazing resource for learning guitar. Now what you'll find is, I could go on and on with 10 minutes of theory here, but it's the half steps that turn the major scale into magic. Of the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do has these half steps. If it didn't have half steps, it would sound like the whole tone scale, which is got its own thing, but it's just very bland and plain. And the major scale makes all the music we know. How does it do that? With half steps. The half steps are the magic. And on the guitar, they line up in a stack, a square like this. So just go to your guitar and play 4 notes, and you've played the 7, the 1, the 3, and the 4. Where are the other notes? Okay, let's start with a 2 and the 5. 2 and 5. Now look at that shape. Can you play that shape on your guitar fretboard? I didn't put my guitar in my hand, so I noodle it around for you, but I'm sure you can just go doodle-doo-doo-doo. That's probably one of the fastest shapes you know how to play. And incidentally, just considering the 7, the 3, and the 2 and the 5 here, that's the bottom of the pentatonic shape, which is indeed where the pentatonic shape comes from. This shape right here. But that's another story that will take us off in a long tangent. We don't got time for today. Trying to keep this under 15 minutes. I've got 2 minutes, and that ain't gonna happen. So we've got this here. What else do we need? 4, 5, 7. We need a 6. 4, 5, 6, 7. Now here we have 1, 2. Wait a minute. 2. There's going to be 2 2s. Yes, because you notice here this is 8 squares, but there's only 7 notes. So one of them has to be a double, an octave, and there it is. That is the same series of notes you use to tune your guitar. If this was the 5th fret, this would be the open string. So open string 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th fret, 2, 2. Cool. Okay, so we've got this special code. This always stays the same. This is always the 1. This will always be the 2 of the scale. This will always be the 3, and so on and so forth. This never changes. This is a static, locked-in geometry to the guitar. You can you'll have to research. If your mind is going, bullshit, that can't be, it's just not possible. That would be a longer video to show you all that. So you're just gonna have to trust me on that one today. So now, what we need to know is this: we need to change this into note names, and then we need to change this into our modal name. So let's use an example of the key of C. And why everyone uses the key of C is because of a piano keyboard. The white keys, 1, 2, 3, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Just so you know, back to C. This can show you whenever you get confused about where the half steps come from. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So remember, B, C, E, F. And then when you say, what about here? That's B, C. Same thing. So this is the only notes that there can be, even though it looks like there's a million notes on the piano keyboard. Too much. I can't take it. There's only those 12 notes. So, and what about the black keys? Well, the black keys, by the way, are these notes right here. Black key, black key, black key, black key. And you say, well, Mark, there's 5 black keys. How come there's only 4 in your diagram here? The other one is here. Same one octave here. We don't need to worry about that for this system. All right, so let's go with some note names here. And then we're going to show you how there's a trick to how this lays out on the fretboard. And then I'll show you how to plug it into the modes. All right, here we go. So we'll go down here. So what were our half steps again? If you were listening, you heard what? Do you know the answer? Okay, good job. For the C scale, since C is the 1, and we're using C because it's all the white keys, so we don't have to put any sharps or flats in here. We've got B, C, and E, F. So we've taken care of 4 notes of our scale. All we need to memorize is 3 more, and they're always stacked on each side. Think about a window and 2 doors or something like that. But C, you got D, and we'll put a D over there, and then E, F, what? G and A. So you got A, D, and G, D. Adam and God, or I don't know, Adam and dog, or whatever you want to do to remember that. But it's really, whatever's before this, what comes before B, A, what comes before E, D, what comes after C, D, what comes, there's always the same here, on and on and on. Now this will change. While this is static, this is dynamic. You could put, if I wanted to play an A flat, I'm Ionian. Since Ionian is the 1, I might put A flat in that box, or mount this box over A flat on my guitar, and I would be playing in A flat. Okay, and now, by the way, just in the same way, there's only the 12 notes make up this pattern, and only this pattern, and it repeats all across the keyboard. Guess what? This is the core pattern of your guitar. It's not the only core pattern. I could show you another one on a different lesson, but this is for jamming. This is your core pattern. This has all the notes. If you go somewhere else, if I go on the other string that's in the blank area here, I'm in another one of these boxes. This box just keeps repeating. No matter where I go, I'll be in one of these boxes. So that's a neat thing to tell your mind, is that this is the only place you can be. So if I'm never lost. If I pick any other note on the guitar, all I have to know is how this stacks up, and I'll know where I am inside this box. Okay, cool. So another thing we can do, and we should do, one more little box pattern here. It's the same exact thing, but I'm going to show you how to line it up with the modes. Now, the modes will always stay the same. The modes are static. I got to look around my camera here. So, all right. Okay, so Ionian, which is it'll correspond with the numbers that I put above on that list. 1, Ionian. What's 2? Dorian. What's 3? Phrygian. So Ionian, Dorian. Now our 2 we know repeats here, so we put D here. No coincidence that you'll notice on the C major scale, it's the D note, and this is D for Dorian. Don't get that confused. Kind of just a weird coincidence there. We've got our 3 here, which is Phrygian, so we're going to put a P there. If we want to play in Phrygian, we're going to mount that as our root note. If I want to play, like, let's say, I'll give you the explanation right now. Let's say I wanted to play in G whatever mode. I would put the G note on my guitar. I would take G Dorian, I would put the D over the G note. If I want G Ionian, I put this one, start with this over the G note. You position this square over the note you want to play the mode in. So if I wanted to play for perhaps in Lydian, which is right here, you should also actually make this note 2, by the way, because this shows the mood order, but this one shows the scale order of the modes. It goes I, D, P for the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4 is a half step, the 5, the 6, the 7. Notice the 1, 2, 3, like the first 3 white keys with 2 black keys in the middle, then the 4 white keys with 3 black keys in the middle. Same thing. And the 7, the 1 would be back here. We'd have Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and that Locrian. All right, so I'm not going to write them all down to save time there, but that's where that comes from. So Lydian, well, what's the next one? Mixolydian, right, is our 5. This is our 5 Mixolydian. We've got Aeolian, then the Locrian right here. We don't use very much. All right. Copy that down. Let's get rolling, my friends. Take your scale. Now, what are we going to pick? Oh, I can't hear you guys picking, so we're just going to have to go basic and easy, I guess. I guess we'll do the key of C again. So let's say I wanted to play in G Mixolydian. All right. Well, to keep this on the well, let me show you this first. Hold on. There's a rule to these squares. So wherever you mount this square, and I'm going to mount it in the key of C here. So let's see here. Where's my 5th fret? That's going to be right here. We're going to have our, we know that that's our 6. Our A note, so we're going to have B and C are right here. Okay? B and C, A, B, C. And also, you can use this to learn the note names across the fretboard too if you stay in the key of C. Okay. Now, here is a trick. You want to consider an arrow going this way. This is the way the guitar moves. Up. And there's 2 rows. Just the same way that there's 2 groups of notes. The 3 group and the 4 group. That is what goes on here. 2 rows of this square flow in an angle, and it repeats. You're back to the beginning again. Let me show you. If you go this way on a fretboard, if I move this way, everything repeats, but it stays at the same. Like if I go, like for example, you'll notice you're tuning the way you tune the guitar here. Your D and your D. I'll put the G in while we're at it. Your D and your D going that way are the same exact note. That's the same exact note. This is moving up an octave. Speaking of moving up an octave, where's the octave of B? Oh, you say, Mark, the octaves are easy. You always go skip a string and then skip a fret, and you got your B right there. So, my friends, if there's a B right there, what must be right next to it? A C, what must be right underneath it? An E, what must be right underneath that? An F, and you found the secret there. The square always connects in a corner to itself. So now you'll see, hey, that's neat. Look at the notes there, B, F, B, F. So you mean on my fretboard, there's only 2 notes that go in a row like that? Yes, and that row is called the tritone row. If you take a B, let's say you're in the key of B, the key of F would be a black key, and that would be a tritone, the devil's interval. That comes up in your 7th chords, but let's not get into theory here. Now, you'll notice that we broke the rules right there. So, Mark, you just said it connects at the corner. What the hell did you just do? Well, we know that there's that B string shift in the tuning where you tune your B string at the 4th fret because everything here is shifted up 1, so that explains that. Not too hard to get over. So we have our first row complete. Notice that it's about string groupings. It groups the outside pair, the middle pair, and then the other outside pair. Okay? Nice clean set of squares, 1, 2, and 3. And if you noticed, all I have to do to get the rest of the notes in, which I'm not going to do right exactly at the moment, is fill in the side wings there on each side of these, and I will have every note on the major scale filled out. And what that'll tell me then is what I'll have is getting a little ahead of myself here. When we're all complete, you'll have remember there's chord tones. This will show you like all like the good notes, and then the black keys are the like avoid notes in the beginning. But how it's really jamming really works when you really start getting deep and you really start wanting to